So in the morning session, we are discussing about renal cell carcinoma. I told you I will discuss the various types of renal cell carcinomas that occur. Now, microscopically, if you look into different types of renal cell carcinomas, you'll find around 5-6 types. Okay, so types of renal cell carcinoma. Okay, the first type will be clear cell. Okay, clear cell type of renal cell carcinoma. Renal cell carcinoma is being abbreviated as RCC. Okay, this occurs in 70% of the cases. Quite common. The most common renal cell carcinoma you'll find will be clear cell type of carcinoma. Uh, what happens in this is the cytoplasm of the tumor cell becomes completely clear. This specifically happens because of removal of glycogen and lipid from your cytoplasm. Okay, any amount of glycogen and lipid that is present in the cytoplasm is removed out, and the tumor itself can show a few patterns, in the sense that the tumor will either show a solid pattern where it is a solid big tumor, or it can be tubular where it is showing a tubule-like structure, or it can be trabecular. So यहाँ पर tumor cells have cell patterns include tubular, they can be like tubules, or they can be solid, like solid mass, or they can be trabecular. Okay, now these clear cell carcinomas, they are separated by specifically these patterns, these trabeculae or tubules or solid clear cell tumors. They are separated by a delicate vasculature, so they will have blood vessels in between them, and if you look into the tumor itself, it is very well differentiated. So if I'll show you an image of how it looks. One second. See, this is how clear cell tumors look. Okay, the cells itself will become very clear because of removal of glycogen and removal of lipids from their cytoplasm. Okay, now coming to the next type. Next type is papillary type of tumors. Papillary type of tumors ऐसे दिखते हैं. Okay, these are papillary type of renal cell carcinoma. This will occur in 15% of patients. Now, as you can see, these tumor cells are arranged in a papillary manner. Okay, uh, if you know papillae, similar to the papillae that are present in your tongue, these papillae will have a papillary pattern, and they will be present over a fibrovascular stalk. So the white regions that you can see in between them, those are fibrovascular stalks. Okay, mostly these cells are cuboidal. Okay, so the second type of renal cell carcinoma will be papillary type. Okay, in this you will see occurs in 15% of the patients. 15% of cases of renal cell carcinoma. Okay, uh, as I showed you, it will be present in a papillary pattern, and you will have fibrovascular stalks on which this papillae is present. Tumor cells are as such cuboidal. They are specifically small, and they will have small round nuclei. Okay, so tumor cells are cuboidal and have small round nuclei. Okay, sometimes you can also see something called as samoma bodies. Okay, in this tumor, sometimes, one second. Samoma bodies may be seen. What are samoma bodies? These are laminated calcified structures. Okay, they are layered calcified structures. Calcification ka matlab that area has been deposited with calcium and it has become hard. So they are layers upon layers of calcified tissue present inside the tumor. Okay, so there'll be small bodies called samoma bodies present in the tumor itself or the cancerous tissue. Then we have the next type. Third one is called chromophobe type. ठीक है, chromophobe type of RCC, renal cell carcinoma. This occurs in 5% of cases. Now, chromophobe type of renal cell carcinoma will have a mixture of pale clear cells with perinuclear halo. Okay, so you will have a small halo-like structure present around your nucleus in chromophobe type. इसका मतलब क्या है? Let's suppose this is a cell. ठीक है, let's suppose this is the tumor cell and this is the nucleus of that particular cell. You will have a halo-like structure present around it. ठीक है, halo किसको बोलते हैं मालूम? If you've seen depiction and pictures of angels and all being shown, they'll have something around on top of their head, right? That is a halo. Okay, basically a circular ring like structure. So these chromophobe type of renal cells or chromophobe type of tumors, they will be a mixture of these pale clear cells. So pale clear cells meaning they do not have glucose or specifically glycogen and lipids in their cytoplasm. That is why they are pale and clear. But the area near their nucleus there will be a halo. Okay, and this halo is specifically made up of acidic granules, acidophilic granules. So in the cytoplasm you'll also be able to see acidophilic granules. Acidophilic granules. Okay, so that is characteristic feature of chromophobe type of renal cell carcinoma. The cytoplasm of these cells will also contain several vesicles. So those are some of the features, right? It will have mixture of pale clear cells, okay, with perinuclear halo, along with acidophilic granules. Okay, acidophilic granules is present inside the cytoplasm itself. Now, along with this, there will be many vesicles. Okay. Now, coming to the fourth type, it's called sarcomatoid type of RCC. ठीक है, sarcomatoid RCC ऐसा दिखता. 1 second. Right. This is how sarcomatoid RCC looks. So this is the most anaplastic type of renal cell carcinoma. Anaplastic in the sense that this is the most malignant type of carcinoma that is occurring. Now, यहाँ पर क्या होता है? It is very poorly differentiated, and the tumor will have whorls. Okay, it will look like spindle tumor cells. If you can see closely, they will look like spindles. Okay, they will have a shape similar to this. If you look closely into the cell, they will look something like this. So in those cells will be somewhat of this shape. Okay, even though they are not perfectly spindle in shape, they will be somewhat in that structure. The tumor itself will be like a whorl. Okay, WHORL, and it will assume a spindle-like shape. This generally occurs in 1.5% of cases. Okay. Then we have the last type of renal cell carcinoma, which is, 1 second. Right. The last type is collecting duct type. Collecting duct type of RCC. This is very, very rare. Occurs in 0.5% of patients. 0.5% of patients with RCC. As such, RCC occur hona will happen in 70 to 80% of renal cancer patients. RCC is prevalent in men more than women, and it will occur in 70 to 80% of all patients with renal cancers. Out of that, 0.5% is collecting duct type of cancer. Now, this is a very rare type of medullary cancer, wherein there will be a single layer of cuboidal tumor cells, okay, arranged inside your tubules of your nephrons, and they will assume a papillary pattern. Okay, I'll repeat once again. This is a very rare type of tumor that occurs in the medulla. Okay, and it is composed of a single layer of cuboidal tumor cells that are arranged in a papillary manner in the tubules of your nephron. Okay, now with all of these types of renal cell carcinomas, the clinical features will be somewhat similar in the sense that the common clinical features that you see in RCC, clinical features will include hematuria, blood in urine, the patient will have flank pain, okay, pain near the location of your kidneys, and palpable abdominal pain or palpable abdominal mass rather than palpable abdominal mass का मतलब ये है, if you are touching it, it will become, it is very tender, okay, and it is very palpable. The patient will have a lot of pain in that area. So these are the clinical features of renal cell carcinoma, and that completes our renal cell carcinoma. If you have doubts or if you want me to repeat anything, please let me know, or else we'll move into nephroblastoma. Good. Now we have the next tumor. This is also called Wim's tumor or nephroblastoma. Now, this is an embryonic type of tumor. Okay, mostly occurs in children of 1 to 6 years of age. It is present in both sexes equally. So, men and women, children, boys and girls, both are affected similarly. And it is derived from primitive renal epithelial cells and mesenchymal components. So, there will be a tumor, embryonic tumor of either epithelial origin or of mesenchymal origin, and this is the most common abdominal malignant tumor in young children. So this is the most common abdominal malignant tumor in young children. All right, occurs mainly amongst the age groups of 1 to 6 years, and it is derived from it is basically an embryonic tumor derived from primitive components, primitive renal epithelium or mesenchymal components. Now, the pathological changes that occur with this include that the tumor is very large. Okay, it will be spherical in shape, and it will replace most of the kidney. As such, a child's kidney is very small, and this tumor occurs, or whenever this tumor occurs, it will be pretty large, and it will replace most of the kidney. It will be solitary. In most of the cases, it is unilateral tumor occurring in one of those kidneys. Okay, so let's suppose this is the tumor. This tumor, this is the kidney. This tumor, let's suppose SI tumor. Okay, it is mostly spherical, and it will cover almost the whole of the vertical kidney, and it will occur solitary, a single big tumor, mostly unilateral. Sometimes 5 to 10% of cases it can be bilateral. Okay, so it will be mostly unilateral. 5 to 10% of the cases it will occur in both the kidneys, hence bilateral. Okay, if it is occurring unilaterally, फिर भी somewhat your body will be able to filter because the other kidney is working. Bilateral tumor हुआ हुआ तो बहुत मुश्किल, the patient will have to be subjected to dialysis and things like that. Okay, if you cut open the tumor, what you see is that it will have a soft grayish white to cream color. ठीक है, grayish white to cream yellow color tumor रहता. If you cut open this tumor, it will be almost like the flesh of a fish. ठीक है, fishy flesh कैसा दिखता. It will be grayish white in color if you cut open the tumor, or sometimes it will be creamy yellow in color. Okay, and you will have foci of necrosis inside. So there will be small spots of necrosis inside the tumor along with hemorrhages. So you will see certain spots where there is necrosis occurring, and you will see certain spots where bleeding is occurring inside the tumor itself. Okay, now microscopically, nephroblastoma will have is a mixture of primitive epithelial and mesenchymal components. इसका मतलब क्या है? Most of the tumors will be small, round and spindle shaped. Okay, there will be sarcomatoid shaped. जैसा renal cell carcinoma में sarcomatoid shape था, वैसा ही shape रहता. These tumors are small. Second, these tumors are small, round, and they will be spindle shaped anaplastic sarcomatoid tumor cells. Now these structures are poorly defined because this growth is not occurring properly in that. Now 1 to 6 year old hai bole to kidney is not properly working. It is still in a growing phase, wherein if you introduce a tumor like this, what will happen is the tubules will completely get destroyed and you will generally see abortive tumors. Okay, that is the characteristic feature of Wilms disease or Wilms tumor or nephroblastoma. The patient will have abortive tubules and poorly defined or poorly formed glomerular structures. Abortive tubules का मतलब ये है the tubules have lost their function. Okay, as such they are growing, but because of the tumor, the tubules will completely get degenerated and they will get destroyed. Now in this tumor, sometimes because it can also be of mesenchymal origin, you will see smooth muscle or skeletal muscle cells, or sometimes you can see cartilage or bone components, osteoblasts present in the area, sometimes fat cells or fibrous cells, all the cells that are derived from your mesenchyme, those can be seen in this tumor as well. Okay, so that is about Wilms tumor and nephroblastoma. Main takeaway points is that it occurs in young children 1 to 6 years of age, and it is derived either from primitive renal epithelial cells or primitive mesenchymal components. Okay, it is generally a big solitary tumor that covers most of the most of your kidney, and it is grayish white to creamish yellow in color with small spots of necrosis and small spots of hemorrhage. All right, whenever this tumor is occurring, the kidney will lose its function. Okay, it can occur unilaterally where it is affecting only one kidney, or it can occur bilaterally. 5 to 10% of cases will have bilateral nephroblastoma where both the kidneys are having tumors. Okay, doubts hai to please let me know, or else we'll move into cystitis. This will complete our tumors of kidney. Oh, okay. Now coming to the next topic, cystitis. Cystitis is inflammation of urinary bladder. Okay, uh, primary cystitis. Now, cystitis can be acute cystitis or chronic cystitis, but primary cystitis usko bolte हैं in a condition where infection is starting in the bladder. Okay, as such, primary cystitis is very uncommon because the normal bladder epithelium is very resistant to infection. It will not get infected very easily. So primary cystitis. Cystitis is inflammation of urinary bladder. Okay. Primary cystitis is uncommon, quite rare actually, because bladder epithelium is resistant to infections. तो कैसा होता अगर bladder epithelium, if it is resistant to infection, technically it should not happen, but cystitis occurs through upper UTI. Okay, if the patient has upper UTI, वहां से the patient can develop cystitis, especially if they are having upper urinary tract infection because of renal tuberculosis. Okay, sometimes what happens is TB will spread to your kidneys. There will be biliary bodies present in your kidney. You will see caseous necrosis inside the kidney, and there will be proper renal tuberculosis. Okay, this renal tuberculosis will initially cause upper urinary tract infection, which will slowly spread downwards and it will make its way to the urethra. Now, as it progresses, cystitis as such can be caused by bacteria and fungal infection. All of the bacteria and fungi that can cause UTI can lead to cystitis. So the causative agents for or pathogenic agents for cystitis will primarily include E. coli. E. coli is the most common cause of UTI, most strongest cause of UTI, followed by Enterobacter. You have pneumococci, Pseudomonas, sorry, not pneumococci, Klebsiella, and a few species of Proteus as well. Okay, these five are most commonly associated with bacteria associated with creating UTI or causing UTI. Sometimes UTI can also be caused because of Candida, but it is generally the case in immunocompromised patients. Candida infections as such nahi hote, but Candida, the yeast infection, mainly happens in patients who are immunocompromised or they are immunosuppressed. Mane, uh, see the difference between immunocompromised and immunosuppressed is that immunocompromised is because of a diseased condition that their immune system is not working properly. That is immunocompromised. It can be infection, it can be any other cause. Immunosuppressed are those patients who are being given external agents that is suppressing their immune system. So for example, patients who are undergoing chemotherapy or patients who have undergone transplant reactions, उन लोगों के अंदर immunosuppressants देते हैं, ठीक है, so that transplant reaction occurs smoothly. In any case, those are immunosuppressed and immunocompromised patients. So long के अंदर Candida infection हो सकता. Otherwise, these bacteria are the most common causes of cystitis. Now, the pathological changes that you see associated with cystitis will be mainly associated with bladder mucosa. Okay, the mucosa will become red, swollen, and hemorrhagic. Okay, sometimes you will also see suppurative exudate. There will be edema, and you will see ulcers present in the bladder. So bladder mucosa, becomes swollen, red and hemorrhagic. It is red because of hemorrhage. Sometimes the patient will have congestion. That congestion is specifically because of suppurative exudate. ठीक है, pus like exudate, उसको suppurative exudate बोलते हैं. ठीक है, this suppurative exudate sometimes is accompanied by ulcers. ठीक है, ulcers in your bladder mucosa on mucosal wall. Now again, the patient might also have, if the patient if the what do you call, if the disease continues for a long period of time, these ulcers might turn into complications of themselves. We've studied in the ulcers of stomach that once ulcer becomes very, very complicated, it will start going into the deeper layers of whichever area it is affecting, going into muscularis, submucosa, then muscularis layer, and so on and so forth. Wherein at one point of time it can cause perforations as well. That is possible in this case as well. यहाँ पर क्या होता अगर the ulcers are not healed or they are not treated in time, there will be a hole created inside your urinary bladder that can cause urine and urinary substances to get leaked out or get voided in the peritoneum. That will be a big problem. Okay, it will lead to peritonitis and it can lead to sepsis. Now, other than this, your cystitis is characterized by intense neutrophilic exudate. So this suppurative exudate specifically will lead to the formation of edema and it will cause congestion. Okay, congestion inside your inflammatory bladder. There will be intense neutrophilic exudate. Okay, you will have lymphocytes entering the area, macrophages entering the area, proper inflammatory reaction occurring along with edema and congestion of mucosa as well as congestion of the bladder. Okay, as see, there is a limited space in your urinary bladder. If this reaction keeps on occurring and if there is intense reaction like this where your अब आपका urinary bladder को ऐसा ले लो, let's suppose this is your normal urinary bladder. Okay, for example, यहाँ पर ureter से attach हो रहे हैं and यहाँ पर आपका नीचे urethra है. Okay, now if the wall of your urinary bladder, suppose this is the wall of your urinary bladder, if this is thickening, this will basically decrease the volume of your urinary bladder, right? Meaning क्या होता अगर size same भी रहा, let's suppose even if it inflames, it will inflame inside and outside. So look at this now. Because of this total area or this total volume, sorry, is getting decreased. ठीक है, यहाँ पर volume बढ़ के है, whereas this is the inflamed one. In the inflamed one, the volume is low. That is one thing. Then you have mucosal exudate, you have edema coming in the area, and you will have what you call suppuration occurring in all of this area. all of that will cause congestion inside your cystitis, inside your urinary bladder, which can be very bad. Okay, it will basically block the contents of your contents of your urinary tract. It can cause that, and it will become very difficult to avoid urine as well. Okay, the patient will have quite a lot of abdominal pain. You will understand variants of cystitis as we go forward, but there'll be a lot of abdominal pain and things like that. Now, these are all the reactions that are occurring in acute cystitis, wherein the patient is having what you call swelling, redness, hemorrhage, suppurative exudate, ulcers forming, and edema occurring, causing congestion. Okay. Now, chronic cystitis में क्या होता? See, let's suppose acute cystitis के repeated attacks हो रहे. If there is repeated attacks of acute cystitis, it will lead to chronic cystitis. ठीक है. Chronic cystitis में क्या होता? Mucosal epithelium will become very thick. It will become red, but there will be granulation. So inside the what do you call, inside the urinary bladder, it will obviously swell a little bit. Along with swelling and thickening, so thickening is occurring because of scarring. Okay, whenever we talk about a chronic condition, especially which is related to inflammation, यहाँ पर acute reaction हो रहा है या acute cystitis हो रहा है, तो obviously there is a lot of inflammation occurring. The end product of inflammation is scarring. Repair will occur. ठीक है, that will cause permanent thickening of the walls in several regions. ठीक है, let's suppose walls are getting thicker and thicker because of fibrosis. ठीक है, and they are not as supple or they are not as flexible as they used to be. That is one problem. Okay, let's suppose thickening and scarring is occurring here. Along with that, granulation tissue will come into place. So you know, in repair, granulation tissue comes and it will fill up the area which is damaged. So यहाँ पर you will see a lot of granular cells present in the area. This area itself becomes very granular, and you will see polyploid masses. Okay, so you will see small polyploid masses present in the wall of your mucosa. Now, as such, in chronic cystitis, the patient will also have patchy ulceration. Patchy ulceration का मतलब है, let's suppose this area is getting an ulcer. Let's suppose I use blue. Okay, this area is getting an ulcer. 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 They are occurring in patches. Okay, or it can be in such a way as well. Let's suppose it is occurring in this way. Over a large area, these are all ulcers that are accumulating together and causing severe damage. Okay, now this ulceration will in turn be invaded by granulation tissue. It keeps on healing and the damage keeps on occurring. That is why it is a chronic condition. And in the area where granulation tissue is coming into picture, polyploid masses are formed. Okay, small budding polyploid masses are formed, and these ulcerations will be quite severe, to the extent that when they are healed, fibrosis occurs. So you will be able to see fibrosis in the submucosa, and you will be able to see fibrosis of the muscular coat. So you can understand that the ulcers are going deeper. That is why fibrosis is also occurring deeper. And in those deeper layers, you'll also be able to see chronic inflammatory cells. You'll see lymphocytes, macrophages, and cells of chronic inflammation invading that particular area. So that is chronic cystitis. Now there is one very specific form of chronic cystitis, peculiar form, in which what happens is chronic cystitis will be characterized by formation of lymph follicles. This will not occur in all cases, only in some cases. Instead of just normal cells coming into picture, lymph follicles will start proliferating in this area. Okay, there will be formation of lymph follicles and lymphoid follicles, and this will happen in the bladder mucosa. Okay, the outer layer. So in the bladder mucosa, you will have lymphoid follicles developing. And suppose these green dots are, let's suppose these are lymphoid follicles. This condition when lymphoid follicles are coming is called cystitis follicularis. Okay, cystitis follicularis. This is kind of a complication of chronic cystitis. It does not occur in all types of chronic cystitis, but in some patients it does, where lymphoid follicles are proliferating. Now there are some other types of cystitis as well. We'll discuss that. So The other forms include interstitial cystitis, interstitial cystitis. ठीक है. Interstitial cystitis में क्या होता? It is also called Hanner's ulcer. I think no, I don't have an image for that. It's also called Hanner's ulcer. Okay, or Hanner's ulcer. Now, this generally occurs in middle-aged women, more common in middle-aged women, and the patient will get repeated attacks of severe excruciating pain, so, abdominal pain, okay, and there will be distension of bladder. Generally, in these patients, frequency of micturition will sharply increase. They will have to void urine again and again, because of which frequency of micturition is increasing, and there will be great decrease in the capacity of the bladder. So the bladder will physically become smaller, and the capacity of the bladder will decrease significantly. That is also one of the reason why they have increased frequency of micturition. Okay, if you look cytoscopy, you perform cytoscopy and look into the bladder of such people, you will see localized ulcer in that area. Yeah, that is interstitial cystitis. So occurs mostly in middle-aged women, characterized by severe and excruciating pain, abdominal pain. Okay, the patient will also have bladder distension, and the patient will present with increased frequency of micturition. Once again, so the features will include increased frequency of micturition. See, generally what happens is whenever frequency of micturition increases, their urgency of micturition will also increase, meaning they not only have to go several times, but each time it is an emergency. Okay, they literally have to run to the bathroom. They'll somehow lose bladder control. Okay, and you will also see great decrease in bladder capacity. So these are the features of your interstitial cystitis. Then we have the next type, which is called cystitis cystica. Cystitis cystica is the result of long-standing chronic inflammation. Okay, what happens is epithelial nests are formed. They are also called Brunn's nests. Okay, I think I have an image for them. Epithelium will literally invade into the deeper tissues of your bladder. So this is the deeper tissue of your bladder, what you're seeing on the screen. This is a deeper layer. So submucosa and muscularis layer ke level pe, what happens is epithelium will start proliferating there. Bladder mucosa ke niche. Those are called Brunn's nests. So these nests that you are seeing, one second, I'll highlight them. Hmm. So these nests that you are seeing, if you can see the circles that I'm drawing, okay, these nests are epithelial nests. They are called Brunn's nest, and what happens is epithelium will enter into deeper layers of your bladder, and it will start proliferating there, okay, making proper sacs of epithelium. That is called cystitis cystica. Okay, then we have the last type, which is called polyploid cystitis. Polyploid cystitis is characterized by papillary projection. So inside your bladder, there will be papillary projections, and you will have submucosal edema. So congestion occurs. Characterized by papillary projections plus on bladder mucosa. Okay. Along with submucosal edema. If this edema keeps on increasing, it will start pushing into the bladder and start causing congestion. So that concludes our cystitis. tomorrow we'll start with male genital system. Okay, the problems of male genital system. Hope you understood the class.